Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the LCN number 4040 or 4040XP-62A. 62A is the important part number. What leads up to that defines the series that the closer is used in. And this is an adapter plate or an arm adapter. They call it an auxiliary shoe. That's what it is, an auxiliary shoe. This is used when you're doing a parallel arm mount, except that you need to drop everything a little bit lower to accommodate your surface-mounted overhead stop. Okay, and that's what this does. So from your perspective, imagine if this plate was just straight. This would then be a parallel arm bracket, basically, right? Is what this would end up being. The well, straight and then a bend for the arm shoe to connect. Well, that would keep your door closer up as tight to the header as possible, leaving no room for an overhead surface-mounted door stop holder friction sort of item. And when you need to drop your closer down to make it fit, you're basically going to install this arm. The closer body has to be relocated lower because the arm shoe will attach here, okay, giving you that room inside of there. It's going to include fasteners. These are self-drilling wood screws that are here, and then they have a couple of machine screws for the arm shoe as well. Okay, so either wood or metal that would work in. Let's take some basic dimensional properties and then we'll go a little bit further. Overall width, about 4 inch. Overall depth, about 2 1/4. It has an overall height of about 3 1/8. Okay, width back here, just shy on 2 inch. Requires a 7-inch top rail. That's because you're moving everything down. You have to make sure absolutely that you have the room on the door and frame to mount everything. Probably could easily study, the inclusion of a drop plate to see how, what that minimum rail can end up ultimately becoming. When you're using this, top of the plate down to the center of the rod shoe screws looks like it's about 2 3/4. Now there are some supporting documentation down below, so let's switch to the screen view where we can take a look at that. Okay, let's take a look at our supporting documentation. This is the item that we're looking at. That link to the manufacturer's page we'll look at in a moment. Requires a 7-inch top rail and replaces the 62PA for parallel arm mounting of regular arm with an overhead holder stop. A little bit of Q&A down here. The 62A shoe is used when it's necessary to install the door closer lower down on the door so that it will operate under accessories such as overhead stops and coordinators. Special templating is required. It's known as an ST2776 and can be reviewed here. Okay, ST special template. And as we study this, right in here is where I would be looking, because that shows you the, what would be a right-hand reverse is really what this would be. Except that we're looking at this from the egress side or from the push side. So when you install that 62A onto the rabbet of the frame, be mindful you're not attaching it to the soffit, you're attaching it to the rabbet. That's what makes this an unusual arm adapter. So it's going to look like this in cross section. it's going to mount. It will not mount here on the soffit. It's going to mount on the rabbet here. If we study the plan view of this, that tells us that it's going to be mounted like this. Your door closer is obviously going to reside. Your door is obviously going to reside over here. That closer body is going to reside obviously in the space. Clearly this is a bit out of context or out of proportion. But your door closer body is going to be in here. Okay, that arm is going to ultimately, connect here. The arm shoe will go here. Sorry for the horrible drawing, but nonetheless it shows the placement of the major components. It would be nice to have a right side view of all of this, but ultimately really not very necessary. General notes: locate closer and shoe from center line of pivot or swing clear hinge when used. This dimension is always from the same surface as the shoe is mounted on. Top rail less than 7 requires a drop plate, and you can see where your screws are going to fall on your closer, so that you can determine, based on your door construction, whether or not you will require a drop plate. Auxiliary stop is shown for reference only, so they're basically saying just this item here. Reinforcing required. Closer body size they're giving you. Back check selector valve must be turned all the way in for this installation. Refer to the instruction sheet packed with the closer. So there is, on your 4040 XP, there is a back check selector valve. Oh, actually it might be on your 4040. Yeah, it would be your 4040. And here would be your possible drop plate. Your 4040 will have a back check selector valve on the back side of it. I want to show you that back check selector valve. Not a lot of people know it's there, but they're not hiding it. So let's see if we've got installation instructions. Back check selector valve is okay. They have a reference to the back check, but there is a valve. I've been able to locate an image online of that back check selector valve. It's on the back side, and that will need to be turned in. And what that does is alters the path that the fluid will run through the closer body. And I understand that it decreases the amount of distance that it needs to run, and that is because you're basically installing this as a parallel arm mount. The closer becomes less efficient at doing its job. So closing that valve or turning it all the way in will allow the fluid to compensate for the compromised parallel arm type mount that is indeed here. Okay, so very interesting take on this accessory. Let's click on the manufacturer's page as seen here. We'll pull up the product catalog and see what we can reveal there, if there's any additional information. 62A might be a 4040 XP dash. Okay. Requires a top rail of 7-inch. Yeah, it doesn't give us any new information, just shows us in the catalog. But you'll see that a 62A is used in other series of closers. 4030 will use it. 4040 XP. The 1250 has a model of it as well. Okay, I was kind of hoping that they would show the arm installed, but no such luck. Meaning a bit more of a isometric view or a cross-section view. Right on. Yeah, so, this face is going to go towards, towards the door. Your arm's going to mount on this interior face. That bracket will mount away from us. Okay, nothing else in the catalog to review, so let's finish up this video on camera. Okay, so there's that arm. It's obviously going to be available in the different finishes that can be done. I don't know if this is available as a plated finish. You can certainly do it in all of the painted finishes. I would have to think it is, that can obviously plate steel. And in the product catalog, we're going to determine if there is a I'm looking in the price list. Okay, so they list plated finishes with the 62A bracket, so it obviously has to be available, is the bottom line. I'm very partial to LCN, and it's not only because I'm a fan of their product line, it's probably because I'm most familiar with it. It was, likely the first door closer line that I became, or among the first that I became, reasonably comfortable with in terms of using their part numbers. But that's backed up by exceptional technical support. The folks at LCN are literally best in class as far as I am concerned. They are extremely accessible, extremely invested in helping you solve your problems, and behave as if they're a partner on the project. Just irreplaceable folks over there. Any questions on the 4040? In a 62A, this bracket would be the same for the 4040 closer. Or any other LCN product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.